So right now, I'm going to talk about the incident that is supposed to be the possessing of my son Robert. I went through the whole situation at work. I dealt with stuff. I looked at the people that was doing the stuff to me, and it was like they wanted me to be blind. They wanted me to not be able to see what was happening. I know it. I get it, because now that I look back, I noticed that my sister had went through something similar, and looking at her life and the thing that she experienced, I noticed that it was the very thing that my sister went through, and it hurt me because it was just weird that two people could be going through the same situation like that, and people acting just like they didn't know that it was happening. But the situation that transpired with my son, when it came to them and they were telling me that we're supposed to be playing a little game and it was something that I was supposed to do and that I had to give up my son. They told me my son was going to be kidnapped. And I was terrified. I was crying, and I was literally getting up, taking my son to school every day and coming in, picking him up every single day. Just I was on edge. There's a lot of things that was going on, and at that point and moment, I was just in a place where many people were not talking to me. Everything was shut off. Everything was really getting to me. And at that point in time, I was watching the tarot readings, and a lot of this stuff was very accurate. It was accurate, and the stuff that they were speaking was being, was manifesting right into my life. And it was like, this is so hard because I spent a lot of time just trying to be loved those past couple years, and I could not figure out why I was going through all of the stuff that I was going through. But I went to the workplace, going through the stuff. Guess I signed a little, or maybe they, I don't know if that was the contract or not. I don't know what that was. I don't know. I get it. Everything about the situation is telling me what it is, and it's really messed up because I'm just here going through my situation and not knowing or understanding what's going on, and you get messed over, you get caught, and now you're suffering. You see everybody doing the same thing, and they are not suffering or paying like how you are paying, and it hurts. But they told me that if I didn't give up my son, it was either going to be me. Somebody had to die. It was either going to be me or it was going to be my son. And I was just trying to figure out, like, why was this happening? Who was doing it? Like, I didn't know who or what was actually doing this to me. I didn't know. The only thing I honestly, truly knew was that I thought I was in love with somebody I didn't even know. And I was angry when people were saying and doing stuff to me, and I was thinking it and feeling it in my mind and in my head, and people was physically doing things to me, and that felt unfair, and I know my experience with feeling possessed in certain stages of my life, feeling like I had no self-control, and it was hard. Most times when you're in a place where you feel like the resistance is so, you're not strong enough for the resistance. And a lot of the things where you come into a situation where you have done the right thing for so long, and the moment you mess up, you get extremely punished. Or when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you mess up, or you don't mess up, or you just trying to live your life and you're being punished or picked on, it hurts. And it was so unfair having to face going to work every single day and being picked on and teased after I worked so hard. And I was working so hard to try to help my family. It was so hard. It's the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life, was to be working around those kind of people in that condition and nobody say anything at all. I felt so much anger and hurt. And what happens is, is that at a certain time, I was going through this stuff and it was saying stuff to me. Like, it was literally, people may not even believe it, but, they may not really believe it or know it until the last moment, until they have really sat and made fun of people and made people be messed up and played over. And in the end, find out it's true and they scared and out of their mind. What happens is that it'll be what it is. But my son, we were all going through a situation and it was really tough and heavy. And we were all in a place where we did not feel well. We didn't feel well. We didn't feel, you know, good at all. We were going through stuff. Stuff was happening. And, they just kept saying stuff about my son. My son. My son. And I was scared. And, in the end, what happens is, in the process, my son, he came to me, and he just kept talking about how he was dizzy, his forehead, something about his head. He felt dizzy in his head. It was a couple of times I would have to catch him because he felt dizzy. And one morning I woke up, or after, like, right before I went and picked my son up from school, I had an incident where I kept hearing a computer chiming in my ear, like ringing, like it had, like, ding, 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 like a computer chime. Like somebody was possibly hitting Alt Delete, or something like that. Like that little noise you get when I just kept hearing that in my one ear, and my head was hurting real bad, and I was just trying to figure out what had happened. So, when I came back, got my son from school, came back, I just been dealing with this stuff over and over again, and I felt like at that point in time I was addicted to watching those videos and coping with my phone, because I didn't have nobody else to really talk to. I didn't have nobody that really cared about me, that could really talk to me or take the time to talk to me, because everybody was married. Nobody cared about me. I felt like I had. Anyhow, they said, I think someone is trying to get away or do something or go somewhere. And I'm going to find out what it is. And I wasn't running or anything. I was just in a place where I was very tired. I was very tired. My body was very tired, and it felt like it was literally giving in or giving way. And when I did, I just had to lay down. I was talking to family members to let them know that I'm tired. I need help, and I need help with my children because I was crashing, and I was able to get the help, the offer for the help that I needed, but it was, um, it was difficult. It sure was. It was very difficult, and um, then they said 3 days later that something was going to happen. And they started sending, my son was at school telling the people we were getting ready to move. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing and hearing people asking questions about where you're going, what you're doing. And I didn't necessarily give no damn because I'm like, I don't care. I'm just tired. I'm in distress and I need help. And when I did that, I had, we had everything set in stone, and I gave away mostly everything that I had. And, we were in a holdup. We were in a holdup again. That was holding up, something, and I just couldn't, I didn't know what it was. We was just in a holdup. And all of a sudden, the police came and talked to me. They told me that in 3 days, something was going to happen. In the 3 days, the police was calling me to tell me that my son was involved in a situation, and they needed me to talk. And I was like, okay. So I go up to the school, and I'm talking to them, and they're saying that my son is doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, that don't make no sense. Like, I don't know. That don't make no sense. I ain't never had no issues like this with my child. So all of a sudden, they done came up with a video that's real blurry, and you can't really see nothing, his face or anything on it. But my son is saying that looks like me, like he couldn't remember what was going on in the video. Couldn't remember. So in that moment, the police is there. My son, all of a sudden, he had talked to me about he hit his head at school that day, that morning. And some of the other kids that came and told me that he had hit his head at school that morning as well. He ran into a wall or into a locker because he wasn't looking where he was going, and he fell backwards and hit his head again. It was a whole bunch of stuff, that they said that they recanted the story for that. So my son, he was not himself that day. And the police seen it. So, and he was talking like he was someone else. He kept saying, he tried to charge me, and I knew that wasn't my son. Like, I knew my son wouldn't, make no attempt. I knew my son wouldn't make no attempt to charge me or hit me or hurt me. I knew that wasn't my son. And he was looking at me like I was looking him straight in his eyes when he started, like I had a moment of fear. Like, who is this person I'm talking to? And his eyes dilated and did something really scary. And when he did it, when he did that, I stepped back because the police officer was there. The principal was right there, and they actually grabbed him. They grabbed him, and my son was talking about, I'm Lucifer, and I asked him what did he want with my son, and he said, "Don't worry about it. Let you I'll let you have his body back. When I'm finished with him, I'll give you his body back," and just all kinds of stuff like that. And I was distraught. At that point in time, he was so incoherent, and it was a moment where they had separated me from my son and had him in the office talking to my sister on the phone. And my sister said she ain't hearing none of the stuff that he's saying, but the police clearly had admitted to hearing what he heard. So I seen it, and I knew it to be what it was. And there was just like so many thoughts and stuff that was running through my head as to why they was using my child. He was a child, a 12-year-old child, through the situation. And so I took my son. They were kind of, they took him to the emergency room. We went to the emergency room. The ambulance actually came and picked him up from school. He left out of the he left out of there with So we went to the emergency room, and he was in the emergency room. I was very distraught trying to figure out where he was, how he was doing, and I was talking to my son. When we got there, I was talking to him, and all of a sudden, we get I was just really concerned. Like when he was a child, something happened when he was a child between, the man that's supposed to have been his acting father, and I had video recorded it. I video recorded it. And so at that moment, I was doing the same thing. I was just like, I need to video record this so that I can process the information that my son is saying to me, because I just had so much on my mind. I was going through so much. I couldn't understand what was going on. And we were sitting in the emergency room. So he get to talking. And all of a sudden, he notices that I was recording him. And it was like that other person came back out again. And His eyes had rolled to the back of his head almost, kinda. He was hissing and acting up. And, at that point in time, he had a knife or something in his hand, and I took it out of his hand because he was eating his food. And he was eating a lot of food. So Evan, where you going? Okay. At that moment, I had to realize that this situation was serious. Like, I had never had no stuff like this, and it was serious. So I'm listening to the doctors, and we was there in the emergency room for a couple days, until they got him into a psychiatric hospital for youth. And he was there, and he went to the other place, and they were trying to convince him to admit to certain things, and he was there and he was learning, and so to speak. When we took him there, we rode there to get him checked in, because at that point in time I was like, fuck everything. I don't trust none of this stuff at all. Fuck it all. And when that happened, we rode all the way to Toledo to take him to one of the places, and then we took him to, he was there for a week. He was able to come home, and after he did that, we had to deal with the police. So they were like, he humped the girl. So at this point in time, he humped this girl. That's a 90-day, and he couldn't even remember he did it, but he just seen it on tape. It was just like the whole situation was crazy, and he knew it was crazy. He knew it was crazy. I mean, I know it was. Everybody knew it was. The police officer that was involved, the detective, he admitted to the fact that, oh yeah, he was not talking like himself. He was concerned for his safety. That's the reason why we got him to the hospital, to make sure everything was good. Because that very same day, he hit his head, and we ran into people in the Walmart, and the lady's son that was there, and he's talking about, yeah, is your son okay? Because he ran into a locker and hit his head and blah, blah, blah. Then a couple of days, I had spoke with the principal about it. I'm like, my son, they telling me my son hit his head. So they like, okay, they gonna go and try to do something. But they had already suggested to me that wasn't true before they even said anything. Because me and my sister had spoke with me and my sister had spoke with them on the phone before it even happened. We spoke with them on the phone. So when that situation came about, after that, the principal spoke to me at McCormick Middle School. He spoke to me and he said, yeah, the other student came in because there was some business, and it was just weird that the student just had to come in, or his parents just had to come in for a reason all of a sudden. And it's funny because I've been taking this little boy home from school every single day because I was picking my son up because of the messages that I was getting. My son was going to be kidnapped, so I was picking my son up and I was patrolling my own, and taking the other kids, the other boy home. The mother, she thanked me. Thank you so much for, bringing my son home every day. I truly appreciate it. She was pregnant, going through a whole bunch of stuff, and, I helped out. I don't mind. I didn't mind. So, principal said, yeah, the mom and the dad came in because something. They had to come in and talk about something about their son together, and then the little boy said that he never said that they never, all of a sudden, they recanted on this story, even after I just had an entire conversation with the mom on the phone. My sister talked, and then to her, then we called her on the phone, and I talked to her, and she put her son on the phone, and he said, yeah, Robert had hit his head, blah, 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 laid it all out there. Then all of a sudden, nobody hit their head. And this other stuff happened. None of it happened. So, I go to just try to figure out and understand why me. Why me? I know that I had been through a lot of stuff, and at that point in time, I was so angry, and I was so messed up that I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it no more. I had took 35 years of just being mistreated and treated like trash, and I couldn't take it no more. And I blew a fuse with them people on that job about the way that they were treating me, the things that they were doing to me, and they knew that they were doing things to me, and they got away with it, and nobody did anything about it. They knew that they could get away with it. They knew they could. They knew they could get away with it. So, what ended up happening was, as I ended up refusing to go back to work with that, but I was still dealing with my son in the process. I was dealing with him. I was dealing with everything that he was going through, and the detective telling me that my son did not have to go to jail like he was taking his medication. They were saying that he could get up to 90 days, and I'm like scared, at that point in time, because everybody like, oh, he just basically the day before, one of the students had sent the same little girl a picture of his private part, and she showed it to my son, but she said that something happened between her and my son, and she went and reported him. And the police had went and investigated that situation with the email that was sent over the school, email system. But they did nothing. They did nothing about it. Like, they just let it go. The prosecuting attorney for the Sandusky Juvenile Court had dismissed it. Well, I was told that it was dismissed, and I asked how come that was dismissed, and then they came for my son and gave him the maximum amount of time. He did, almost the 90 days in. I think he was shy a couple days of 90. Then he had to do the house arrest. Then he had to do all kinds of counseling. He got to go to court. They demeaning him and treating him like trash while he in the damn court, and treated me like trash as well. And I'm trying to figure out, why is it? What was it about them other people that made them not go after them, but they would continue to keep charging after us? Like, what is really the matter here? I couldn't get it, because everything, communication with me, everything was basically shut down, and I was being treated in the utmost rudest way. Even after I had to deal with the people on that job, they were saying that they knew, because I didn't get out of a situation fast enough, that I was going to have to deal with what was going on, and my son, issues with my son, all kinds of stuff was going on. And I'm just like, and they telling me that I need to chill out, or be quiet, because something about my people, something about saving my people, and all this other kind of stuff. Well, every time I say something or a thought come to my mind, it's coming out anyway, and I'm going to be blamed for it. So it's like, what do I do? And I'm being criticized and ridiculed about a whole bunch of stuff, to the point where I'm just, I don't have no more tears. I don't have no more fear. I don't have nothing, no joy, no love, or nothing. And they telling me that I have to continue to keep trying to be happy and live a happy life with this situation going on with me and my son. So this situation done dragged out. It happened in January, and it's done dragged out past then. It's November. And they never investigated the situation with the girl and the boy. And I just said, every time we would go to court, they would kind of push me through real quick. Like, they would push us through. They wouldn't allow me to really talk. He would scorn me. And wasn't feeling or thinking like it was scorn. He would scorn me. And it was like, I would see whenever my son would get around him or that situation, he would be fine when he was at home. But when he get around that situation or start dealing with that stuff, then he start acting up. And it was like, whatever it was like a cycle or something that they was trying to fulfill it through my son. And no matter what I do, they told me, like, if I helped, I couldn't help, or they were going to, or that me and my family wouldn't be here. And they was telling me that it was certain things I couldn't do. I had to not work, and I'm like, I don't have no other way of taking care of I would go and try to get work. I wasn't able to get no work. Like, it's to the point where I'm just tired of even trying, because even still now, it's like very difficult. Times and things have very difficult for me. I've lost my car. I've lost a lot. And a lot of people around me has lost a lot. And they told me I was going to have to lose everything. I was going to have to lose my kids. I was going to have to lose my car. I was going to have to lose everything in order for this situation to be whatever it was. And it sucks, because I have always been, I've always been strong. Through it all, I just couldn't feel sad, because through it all, I've always been strong. And just me losing my cool at just one point in time, because these people treated me so horrible. They treated me so bad. And they would come back and try to put my kids through this situation, and that's really messed up. It's messed up. It's so messed up. They've taken lots of opportunities. Like, I've done every single thing that I haven't really moved forward in, and people don't understand or know the things or the challenges that I had to go through, because I haven't even really even been able to talk about it, but just to experience all the things that I had to experience and go through this, it was like I'm over it. And I'm watching everybody around me being in a place doing certain things, and they're getting it. And it's like I'm not getting it. I don't understand why I'm being treated the way that I am being treated. I don't get it. And so what happens is I'm sitting here going through a lot of stuff. They tell me to stop talking. They tell me to go get counseling. Like, whenever I go and I talk to a counselor about the things that I have experienced, they literally call Child Protective Services on me and fabricate stories and act like I'm really doing stuff, or like they're really in some kind of way. When I tell these people about what they were doing to me, they literally sit here and act like they don't know or they don't understand what's going on. And or they treat me so bad. They treated me just like how they treating Donald Trump right now. And it hurt me. Now I'm just to the place where I'm numb, just going back over this stuff because I can't let it go. And I want to be like I have lost a lot. And I don't see no good end for me and my children, the things that I have seen. The dreams that I've had about this situation and the things that I have seen, I don't see anything good happening for me and my kids because of the way that the things that I had to go through. It sucks. I'm tired of always keep trying to. I'm tired of keep trying to. I'm tired of keep trying to hold it in and act like I'm not feeling what I'm feeling, and this stuff is coming across my phone. And the way that they were accusing me of being the whole start of this stuff, when that's not true. I have literally, I've sat for years and just mind my business. And granted, I am not perfect, but I have always sat here and just tried to mind my business, dealing with stuff, dealing with people. And I didn't get it. They was telling me I was having to join somebody on the other side, or telling me I was going to have to, I didn't know none of this stuff that was going on. I don't know none of it. I don't get none of it. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Now I get it. But at that point in time, I didn't get any of it. And it just felt like everybody truly wanted me to fail. They left me in that situation to fail when I didn't know anything about what was going on. And I just feel abandoned. I feel abandoned. I feel like I have been put in a fire and I have been abandoned, and everybody knew what was going on and nobody talked to me or said anything. It's like they truly wanted me to hurt. And they feel listen to stuff that's going through my mind every single day. I can't. The flashbacks of the things that I seen happen, and I can't forget it. I can't forget it. I have the dreams and the things that I feel, and I try to just release the anger and the hurt, and it get too much. It get to be too much. And you start seeing stuff and you see the game plans and what people are doing and what they expect and what you're here for. It just hurts. Just a feeling of just watching my child like that and being told you go ahead through it now, and then something about when they 21 they would erase it or something like that. Like, that sucks. That sucks with just loving somebody. That really fucking sucks. And I can see it all. I can see it all. I can see it all. And I just feel used. I feel like I was set up. And I feel so used. And I feel sad, and I feel like a disappointment. I feel like I don't know where life is going for me here, because I don't get it no more. I really don't get it. And it feels like we're probably going to go over this stuff again. We're going to go over it again. I know we are, because I can remember now that when I was little, something, I kept getting messages about something and I couldn't understand what it was about. I couldn't. I was a child. I didn't know nothing about what was going on. And I didn't know what it was. So I let it alone. I'm just sad that I will have to be I wasn't good enough for anything. And me and my children, we weren't good enough for anything or for anybody. And sometimes I just sit and I talk to my son and I ask him about what's happening, and he don't remember any of the stuff that happened. At one point in time, my son didn't even remember ever eating a chalupa. Like, when he got out and he was having a bad day one day, I took him to get some, a special meal. And we decided to go to Taco Bell. And at that point, we were going to Taco Bell, and he asked me for, a chalupa, and he's like, or he had asked me for one, and I was asking me questions about it, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, he asking me questions about something he done had before. They got them little chalupa boxes, and he done had one before, but he couldn't remember ever having one. So he was like, oh wow, this is pretty good. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, like you done had one before. We done been to Taco Bell quite a few times. And he was like, I've never had this before. He didn't know who he was or what was going on. He did not know. He didn't know. And I was trying to, that was just one of those other moments where reality hits you, and it's like the situation is showing you that wow, these people really they really we really tied up in something we don't necessarily know or understand, and it's unfair. Who's not going to fight for themselves, for their life? Who not gonna fight? Because at one point in time, I'm being told not to talk, then I'm being told to talk and get counseling. Don't say nothing. Like, it don't matter. It don't matter. Like, most of the time, my strength is gone. Like, it just hurts so bad. I do. I hurt. I don't have a clue how to fix it anymore. Like, I feel like I asked somebody for help, and I really had trust and hope in that person, but it's all lost and gone. I feel like times when I just was going crazy, when I just couldn't. I know that what my son told me is true because it's happened to me when I was younger. There was moments when I would find myself like my being could not keep away from something, or just like I wasn't myself. I remember feeling like at certain urges, like right before my children were even conceived, that I needed love like really badly, and I was going places and talking to people and doing things, and I didn't necessarily know or understand till I was finding out I was pregnant. And it's like, how did I get here? Like, how did I even get here? I know what it feels like. When the people at work was messing with me, I felt like I was blacking out myself. I felt like I was blacking out, and like I couldn't control being the inner part of me that was just full of rage and anger from just having to be beat down and abandoned and abused so many times, just left holding the ball and trying to, I felt like I blacked out. Like I was working so hard, and the harder I worked, the sicker I got. And, I'm turning my life around. I'm eating right. I'm, meditating and finally getting happy. And then people start attacking you, and people start doing stuff to you, and the law is looking the other way, and nobody is helping, and nobody is loving, and nobody is doing, like, it's hurting. And I'm at a point now where I don't know what to say besides keep talking, because I don't have nobody else to talk to. So I just sit here and I make these videos so that I know that I have my life. To release some of this pain that I feel, because nobody have to sit here with the flashbacks that I had to experience my entire life, just not being able to be myself, just not being able to feel like I had control over my life and myself, and to have to see it in my children when they suffered and they hurt. And just losing it. Just lost it. I can't. Some of this stuff I can't remember myself. Some things I can't remember. When my child was sitting and talking to me about stuff, and it's like, what? I don't remember that. I can't remember that. Or that didn't happen, or that's not true, or, I get it. That was hard to watch out of my son, and regardless to what anybody say or think, I dealt with that. I dealt with it. I had to deal with it, and they took my power away from me, and I had to sit here and deal with it. And then they're trying to take my voice away from me, and I can't do it. I can't let them take my voice away from me no more. I can't keep submitting myself. And I've done it over and over again. And when I couldn't be vulnerable and I needed somebody and I needed help. And it was hard, and I had my life where I just couldn't control it. And do I take responsibility for the things that I have done in my life? Yes. But I am hurting. Because I'm sitting here and I'm getting to watch everybody else be happy. And everybody is just passing me by. And the only thing that they can tell me is that you just gotta give up your son if you don't want to, like, I cannot give up my children because they were here when I needed them. When I needed somebody, when I didn't have love, my children were the only people that was here, so I can't turn my back on my 3 sons. I can't. Through this process, I can see, I know that they're able to do anything and create anything now. I know that. It doesn't make me afraid anymore. I'm just, I'm in a place where I know these people not real. In this life, it's not real. It's not real. There is no love. There is no love. I felt like at one point in time I did at least build that up for myself and for, I've always had love for my children and for my family and support. But it's just like the fact where I feel numb and dry and just, like I cannot come back to life again. Truly is whatever, I guess. But it's another moment and an opportunity for me to speak my mind.